1440.
I don't know how this whole business started, of you thinking that I had been untrue. But if you think that we'd be better parted, it's gonna hurt me, but I'll break away from you.
And good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's Friday. It's 7 o'clock or 7-something this morning. The number's here, 860-1440, just in case you want to call or something like that. After I got a guess. It's not really a guess. He's a shotgun rider today. Okay? So I don't know who this is on the phone already, but we'll take that call and then we'll get to my main question this morning. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, my friend.
Yes.
Mr. Ed.
Is that what you were speaking about? Is loving God? So the last thing you wanted to do was something. You remember? You were saying something about, I would like to do something.
Yeah, but that,
the last thing,
yeah, but that wasn't it. Yeah, that wasn't it.
Oh, loving God is not it.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Okay, then. All right, then. Okay, then. Ed, we got an issue here. I told him I don't think man could really love God. Okay. Now, we can say we do, but whether we actually do or not, well, that's a whole different. But it depends on how you define it. It depends on how you define it.
Yeah, and that's an abstract. I mean, you have to make a judgment on whether or not it's true love or...
Right. Or it's an abstract.
And I think we can because I think it's possible, and I think we do it.
But you do it by doing things.
Sure.
Yeah, not just saying, because every time I think of love, I think of this nice, warm feeling, a good hug.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's not, you can't hug God.
God can motivate you to do things God like.
Yeah. But I guess it just depends on. Anyway, that was yesterday, Kat. That was yesterday. Here's my question for you this morning. You were a teacher for how many years?
27.
Okay, that's almost a half a lifetime.
Yeah.
Here's my issue, and I can't get a member of the board. I haven't been able to get any teachers do this, and let me make sure I get this thing completely right, because I normally I don't write stuff down. I just go after, I just do my thing. So, here is a question that I can't seem to get an answer to. So maybe some of you, even you, can give me an answer. The word failing schools is the biggest moronic piece of crap designation that I've ever heard from anybody. This is the only part of it. First of all, no school fails. No school. There's not been brick and mortar that has ever failed. Okay. Now, if a tornado comes along and blows,
that's a failed school.
Blows the school down. The school.
Yeah, but you're getting in semantics there.
But semantics matter.
They do matter, but that's like saying the church. The church is a group of people. The church is not a building.
Well, that's true.
No, it's absolutely true. Same thing with the school. School is people. A school is not brick and mortar.
Right. But we designate them as failing schools. Okay, so
we've got bad schools.
We do. But the word no school has ever failed unless it's been blown down by a tornado or something like that. But that's not the big issue.
No.
First of all, people in the school fail. Okay, not the school itself.
Yeah.
The administrators, the teachers, collectively, not maybe individually. You got some teachers that are doing a great job, but they're getting tired of the environment. Blah 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 blah. But here's the problem: if McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, if their sales were going down, if their performance of their stores was going down, in the military, if the first sergeant, if I come to commander and the first sergeant couldn't motivate us to get the job done, they would never come in there and get rid of the privates. They would come in there and get rid of the senior non-commissioned officers and the officers that are in charge. Here's my question. Nobody can tell me when they designate a school failing out here in Alabama, they go in and tell the parents, you can move your children to another school. So the school system messed up. So now I have to take on extra added financial burden to put my child in another school that's quote-unquote designated as non-failing. That is the dumbest thing that I've ever seen in my life when it comes to school. It's one of the dumbest things.
Is being able to move your students?
Now, why should I have to move my child? They should move the people who teaching at the school who can't seem to get the job done. So now you're going to make me get an additional financial burden to have to now get up earlier in the morning, maybe get another job, even lose a job to get my child on some other part of the country, on the part of the county, because why? And we still leave the kids back in the same environment who can't afford to go to another school. Why don't we fire the administrators and the principals of these schools?
Okay, let's say for just a moment you're an administrator. Here's your problem. You can't get rid of the people that you would like to get rid of.
You can fire them from that school. You can put them...
Yeah, you can't... As a principal, you try to do that, and goodness knows I hate to take up for principals necessarily.
No, let's get rid of the principal, too. Let's put them all in the basement someplace. You should not cause me harm because your system messed up. You shouldn't cost me money. You shouldn't cost me time because you messed up.
You have to do a judgment value there. Is it worth it for your child to go out of the way? Is it worth it for your investment to send them to another school and inconvenience you for taking them to a better school where they'll be more effective?
Wait. You're missing my point.
I didn't miss your point.
Wait.
I heard exactly your point.
Okay. The only difference in the school that they're going to and the school that they're at is the personnel.
Oh, yeah.
So why not switch personnel? Why not...
because your proposition with this to effectively help your situation is to move all the good faculty and principals from one school
Why not?
To another one.
Why not?
Because the one you left will then be in the same situation.
That's the school's problem.
Yeah.
Again, it makes no sense to put the burden on me.
Mm-hmm.
I work for TJ.
Yeah, but you are in charge of your child's education.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you absolutely
are.
No. You're responsible for that.
Sorry.
Oh, you're absolutely responsible.
No.
You're not responsible for your own child's education.
No, I'm responsible.
Then you don't take responsibility for them eating, drinking, brushing their teeth, or anything else. That's whose responsibility is that?
I'm responsible for getting him to the designated places of education in our community, which
and
is
that's
our
not
schools.
working. It's your responsibility to make sure he gets it.
And that's what I'm doing. Let's get rid of the teachers and the administrators of the school. Mm-hmm. Why make me move my child? That's crazy.
Making you do anything.
But they are. If they telling me that they had a quote-unquote failing school,
mm-hmm.
then that means that the people in that school are not succeeding at their chosen profession.
Yeah.
So why not move them?
So you're saying move all the teachers and principals?
Yes, they're failing.
Because you don't like the way your school is turning out.
Wait a minute. They made the designation, not me.
Yeah.
So if the school...
But then they're giving you the option to move them.
Again, why should I have to move my child?
Don't be so lazy, Elkins.
That's not the point.
You can drive your child 3 more miles.
It's going to cost me more gas.
So what?
So why not...
Is your child's education worth that?
See, no. It's not that easy. Don't blame it on me. They failed, so now I have to pay?
Sure.
That's crazy. I'm already paying for the school.
If it's valuable enough for you, then you'll make the sacrifice.
No. Listen, that is...
You're responsible for your own child's education.
That is people's philosophy who live in great neighborhoods and who got a car that don't break down every 10 minutes when you go down the road.
I made sure my children went to a good school.
And that's... Why can't every school be a good school?
Well, that's the multi-million-dollar
question.
So
when we move my children from
mm-hmm.
from one school to another...
Right.
That doesn't help anybody who's left back in this school with
the same
fact, personnel.
If your kid's a good kid and you attest that he is, then it probably hurt the school that he left because of his influence and ability and academic ability and those kind of things, his leadership ability.
But
it hurts that last school.
See, you've been indoctrinated in the system because you've been a teacher a long time.
Yeah.
Because I should not have to move my child.
Well, don't move him. Nobody cares. Do you think we care if you move your child or not? It's up to you.
No.
Leave him where he is and get a bad education and have a poor start on life. That's on you.
Wait a minute. Education itself is not bad. The people who are giving it out, distributing that education are bad. Why you guys got this thing? But you can't move these people from why we got a bad element in that school, and most.
I'm not saying you can't fire bad teachers. I'm all in favor of that.
We ain't talking about firing.
I'm talking about moving them.
I'm talking just move them someplace.
They move people all the time.
You want me? Then
in Montgomery, they move people continually.
Hey, move the whole staff.
Yeah, but the whole staff's probably not the problem.
Then move the leadership immediately.
That bathwater baby thing comes to mind with that.
Yeah. But again, you keep saying send my child to a good school. Well, every school is supposed to be good.
Oh yeah.
So why?
Yeah.
So schools don't. You will agree. Schools don't fail. Teachers and administrators fail.
Oh, I believe it's a personnel problem. Yeah, but it's also a system problem too.
But who runs the system?
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so get rid of them.
They don't have. Let me tell you something. In Montgomery County, they do. I've talked to an administrator on your radio program. I point blank asked him, and this is the crux of the problem right here. I asked him on your show. You had him in as a guest, sitting in this chair. I said, I've been an educator for a long time. I've been retired. Y'all are having problems getting people to teach here. I said, if I came to teach for you, would you let me enforce discipline in my own classroom? He talked in circles and told me, well, we've got a system in place, and you can take them to the office. And I said, I would not work for you. You don't let me be an adult. You don't let me be a professional and an educator, and to handle my own situation. As a result of that, I'm not going to have someone else handling everything for me and filling up your office with people and the backlog of that, which will never accomplish anything with the discipline in my own room.
Okay.
That won't work.
Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Mr. Elkins.
Morning.
To your guest.
Good.
Okay. To your guest now, I've been sitting there listening to you guys, but to your guest now, haven't the Republican or so-called conservative party been in control of the school system for over 10 years or so?
In Montgomery County, you got to be kidding me.
I'm talking about the state of Alabama, having the Republican Party being over the school system.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, essentially, yes.
Why is it then that they fixed the problem about critical race theory? They fixed the problem about the little boys want to change, or girls want to change the sex at a young age or whatever. Why did they fix that? They ran it through the legislature, and the governor on TV bragging about it in her ads. Mm-hmm. Why can't she fix the discipline in the schools as well?
I believe that's a lawyer issue.
Come on, something to. Huh?
I believe that's a lawyer issue. You asked me why, and I answered the question. No, I think that I don't think it's a party situation. I think that we've got so much regulation in place in schools that the teachers and the administrators don't have any control on the discipline to a great degree on their own students.
And that's because of teachers have allowed it to get this way.
And I'll say this. Go ahead.
Here's my thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, the critical race theory and the kid sexuality and all that, they say that's personal with the kids. But when it comes to, okay, since you're the head man in charge, you should come up with something to say, hey, I'm gonna hold the parents responsible for these hard-headed kids or whatever, threaten to lock them up or whatever, or build a school like they did in Birmingham for the LBGT for all the bad kids and put them in each city, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Got all the empty buildings. It could be easily done, couldn't it?
Yeah, maybe so, but that's not the direction they're going to go.
I'd rather do that than taking the kid out of school, running every time.
That's right. Every time something fails, we got to move the kid.
Everybody can't afford to take the kid across
gas
town,
and resources. No, fire these people, get them out of that school, because obviously they cannot teach well. Now you've been a teacher a while, you kind of indoctrinated into the system, I got you. But they need to move them. Don't make me move my child. You move the people who fail in it.
I don't care if you move your child or not. Suits me if you do or don't. I mean, that's your child. Do whatever you want to do. It's fine.
You're almost taking up for the system.
No, I'm not.
But
I say move it. I say move.
No, don't move them.
I'm not for bad schools. That's ridiculous. And Montgomery is one of the worst places in the United States.
But it's not the school. It's the people.
Well, yeah.
So why should I have to move my child rather than move the bad element from the school?
You shouldn't have to move your child.
That's right.
Well,
I shouldn't.
Look, Kevin, again, we don't care if you move your child or not. We couldn't care less.
See, you've been a doctor. You give me that indoctrinal thing there. Okay.
No.
Yeah, we'll be right back right after this. I know I'm right, but
whatever.
He's a teacher, and he's been indoctrinated, and you're overlooking the whole thing. Let me put it this way: if I had a flat tire on my car, I wouldn't go to the store and say change the engine. Okay.
I agree.
If I got a school that's failing, I'm not going to move the people who have been failed. I'm going to move the people that have failed them.
You come up with these abstracts that are not going to happen instead of improving the situation there. Oh, I think if you change the way that things are regulated, it can go a long ways toward that.
I'm going to change before this conversation over. We'll be back.
My new time right here on the same great station. It's all happening every afternoon at 2, right here on News Radio 1440.
Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas, fish full of mercury.
And good morning, everybody. 860-1440 is our number here. You can text me 241-9998. Let's go see who this is right quick. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hello?
Yes.
This is Ty, architect, who built America. Black from Virginia and Maryland built the White House. Irish built the Capitol. Chinese built the Continental Railroad. They were called coolies. Blacks that worked on that railroad or that project were called Gandhi
but this ain't got nothing to do with color. This ain't got nothing to do with, we're talking about something else.
Have to do with what?
What we're talking about. That's got nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, though.
Well, you talked about who built America.
No, I didn't.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, not today. That was yesterday, maybe.
The Mohawks done the skyscrapers in New York because they had
let me tell you what we're talking about. We're talking about. I'm talking about this one. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Why do we allow the school system to put our kids in other schools rather than get rid of that bad element in the school, which is in the teaching profession? They have failed. Why is the responsibility put on me to put my child in another school? That's what we're talking about. Are you still there? Okay, probably not. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that was a different direction for the program. I didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's not my wheelhouse there.
And still, I've been asking this question on Facebook for days. Nobody has yet to give me an answer to that question. Schools don't.
Why should you have to move your child?
That's right. Why not move the people that failed my child?
Well, why don't you go to the Board of Education and say, look, I don't want to move my child. Get rid of everybody over there at Lee. And move some good people in here.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what you ought to. Well, do that.
Oh, I'll do it.
That's your option.
Yeah, I'll do it. But these are the.
Tell the people on the board. You've probably got the board members' numbers, and you can say, hey, they need to move everybody from Lee over to the other place because this one isn't working for me. Try that and see what happens.
Well, if enough of us want that to happen,
yeah, well then
it'll happen.
Organize, Kevin. Well, that's how things sometimes are accomplished.
Well, I need your help.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gonna help, brother?
I'm in Elmore County. We got enough to worry about up there.
It's got nothing to do with where you live, brother. It's got nothing to do with that.
It does.
Okay.
I don't have a stake down here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you do got a stake because the guy here who fails will be up there getting something out your house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do got a stake in it.
I live in Wetumpka. I'm concerned, and I have
We don't mind coming to Wetumpka to get your TV.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Okay.
That has happened.
We don't care. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, I just wanted to let y'all know that Alaska's part of the United States, and the Eskimos built the igloos, so...
Well, they did, yeah.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, they shut the misinformation board down, and so...
Already?
the misinformation that comes off the radio now, we can go back to just putting it out there, because we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hey,
so what do you think about my proposal?
Parents don't have any problems loading their kids up and driving them to the other side of town to get in a good school that's got a good sports program. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I think that ought not be allowed either.
Well, I can tell you this, that happens all the time.
Well, I think they're wrong because that doesn't help the school where they are.
No, it doesn't.
So,
but you're absolutely right, caller, in that they'll do whatever it takes with sports.
With sports. That's right.
But they won't do it with academics a lot of times.
But do you understand what I'm telling you? I don't. The children should not have to be moved because grown people have failed them. The grown people should be moved.
Yeah, the school should be better. Nobody's arguing that.
And the way you make it better is to replace people that are bad.
Oh, yeah. Fundamentally, I agree with that.
But the football coaches, the basketball coaches fail them and their teachers, but the parents move them from one county to another. Heck, they'll sell their house so they can live in a school district so their kid can play basketball.
Oh, absolutely. Or football or anything.
Well,
or football or any of them.
Different things motivate different people. So
I will say this, caller. One thing, if we were motivated in education like we are in sports, we would have a lot better school system.
And if the teachers were allowed to control their classrooms like the coaches allowed
to that is, amen with that.
Then, my friends, we wouldn't have none of the problems we have.
That's absolutely true.
Well, there ought to be one standard.
Yes.
And it ought to be for academics, it ought to be for sports, it ought to be for tiddlywinks.
Yep.
You think sports shouldn't be in school? I'm just asking.
Oh, it should be in school. It should be there. But they ought not be given this big old pedestal to sit them on, and some of them dumb as an bucket of water. So I don't.
The last 3 exchange students I've had are Spain, Italy, and France. They don't have sports programs in their school. None of the 3 countries.
That's why this is called the USA.
Oh, I know it is.
Yeah, we like sports.
Oh, we do.
Yeah,
and they have sports after school. It doesn't have anything to do with school. But here's one of the problems, though, Kevin. Their academics are higher than ours.
Okay. Well, they got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why Alabama is like what, number 49, number 50 now in the country.
We're low 40s for sure.
Yeah. Well, again, and part of that problem is because teachers have allowed this environment to fester. Kevin
blames the teachers for all this.
I'm blaming all of you guys for this.
Yeah.
You guys let it go. You let it keep going, and now it's to the point it's out of control. Y'all did it.
Well, I'm going back to my nice school igloo, and y'all hash it out.
Okay. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning to your guest.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
I've been dealing with the school system. I know a lot of answers for.
You sound like a teacher too.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not.
You got a teacher voice. You got a teacher's voice, though.
I'm just an educated person, sir. That's all.
Well, that's good.
Okay. But I've been dealing with those issues with the school system. A lot of people don't know a lot of things that I did would benefited other students besides my own 2 children, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things I had to point out to them in due process hearings. Kevin, it's the bureaucrats that's messing everything up. And I keep telling you, and you don't understand this, we are stakeholders, but we're the only stakeholders that's listed in the Code of Alabama that they don't let come and discuss issues about who they're going to hire or make any decisions about that. It's people who don't even have children in the school system. They have ulterior motives. See, they're getting a lot of mostly federal money. Now, I will disagree with your guest. There are standard policies and procedures concerning disciplinary action.
Oh, yeah, and they don't implement them either.
They're set in stone. Pardon me?
Yeah, a lot of times they don't implement those either.
That's the problem. They
Amen.
don't implement it correctly.
Oh, yeah, there's looks like a Bible,
they
the rules.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's there's a policy manual in place. Absolutely.
But you have to follow it.
Yeah, you do.
And it goes from one step, which starts where in that classroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts, Kevin. It's in the classroom. Then if the teacher cannot handle the problem, you've got to make some kind of attempt to handle that problem instead of just sending them to the policies and procedures does not say just send a person to the office, a child to the office. It does not say that there are different steps that you're supposed to take. And the reason that you have those different steps so everyone will be in compliance. All disciplinary actions are not handled in the same way. There are disciplinary problems in the magnet school, but you're not going to hear about. They smoke drugs. They use drugs in the magnet program.
Well, they use drugs in every school in the country.
Okay, well, what I'm trying to say, the magnet program full of a lot of goody two-shoe kids. Now, they're smart. They get bored, too. Okay, they're very intelligent, so it's not very much that a teacher's going to have to do with those particular kids. Now, whereas you have another set of kids that have learning problems or didn't come into the school system with the particular skills that they needed, and we're getting mad about that. We want them to send them home to their parents, send them to the dumb kids' school, send them to some of those kids are a lot smarter than these callers are. If you really want to know the answer.
Maybe.
They're a lot smarter than some of these, if you work with them. Now, if you show that, you're just a thug and you talk to them, those teachers act just like we say the students act. They act thuggish.
But nobody still answered my question why there's no law that says you cannot replace bad teachers in the school. You can't fire them.
Yes, you can.
Nothing, but we settle for that as parents. My kids have graduated, got other degrees and everything else since they've been in school. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that we got to work and put the point it where it is. It's not the children, it's the administrators.
Right, they the kids, right. This has not got anything to do with the kids.
At the state level especially, because they're trying to keep that federal money coming in, but they better watch it.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Hey, got to take a break. Thank you very much. Yeah, first of all, don't get me wrong. This has got nothing to do with the kids. Kids do what they're told to do, what you expect them to do. And matter of fact, a lot of them get bored and disappointed when the boundaries are not set. Okay? So they don't find out about how far the boundary is until they do something. And then you let them continue to do it, then they're going to think it's just part of the operating procedure. Okay? So it's not about the kids. It's about grown folks.
I agree with that part. I mean,
who's supposed to be in charge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. We'll be back.
Your WSFA for News Radio 1440. Depend on it.
And don't forget, next week it is Top Gun. We'll be at the theaters, and me and Z going to be there. I don't care if everybody's got COVID. We'll wear 2 masks, but we're going to watch that show. We're going to watch that movie.
Top Gun.
Yeah, I love me some Top Gun. Let's go back to the phone real quick. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Yes.
Good morning.
You need to learn the difference between idealism and realism.
Well, I know what they are.
Unrealistic to think. I think it's unrealistic to think the system that's broke is going to fix itself. I had a friend a few years ago that came from Atlanta. His wife had several years in primary education. Spoke to several principals who wanted to hire, but it required HR sending you to the principal. She never could get sent to the principal because they were hiring new teachers out of Alabama State. The system is riddled with nepotism. They don't try to get the best teachers. They try to make sure that their brothers and sisters and their son-in-laws have jobs.
There's some of that goes on out there. That's
well, as long as they can teach, I don't care who they're related to.
Well, they're not gonna fix it, Kevin. You just see it in the wind. If you care about your son, send him to public education. Private education.
But that's my problem. Why should we have to spend additional money when we're paying?
We shouldn't, but it's not realistic to think it's going to fix itself.
No.
Well, if everybody keeps saying that, it never will.
Realistic. No, it won't.
Okay.
Not until people are willing, especially black people, are willing to say, "I've had enough with my third grader can't even read."
Well,
until they get fed up with it, then it'll never get fixed. They keep hiring the same people. They keep putting the same people back on the board.
Mm. All right, appreciate it. Good morning. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Marty. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Kevin, I'm going to say this, I can't tell you how to, I'm just saying this, I'm making a point. I can't tell you how to prepare your radio station. I can't tell you about your rules and what guides you and what regulates you. One can assume, you see, just like when I was in law enforcement, until you actually put on that uniform, you have not a clue what it means to be a law enforcement
Amen to that.
And until you actually jump out of a plane, you have no clue what a PLF is stand for, which is pull, land, and forward. You have no clue. So until you're in the trenches and everything, you cannot say what a teacher does and what they cannot do, because the teachers are governed by policies, and the administrators are governed by the board, and the board is governed by the state board. And you were right as far as funding and everything and how their hands are tied. Trust me, the teachers in the classroom are doing the best they can. You do have some bad apples, just like you do in any other profession or what have you. So until you're there, you cannot say what they are and what they're not doing. Now, I've taken offense
but nobody's still answering my question. The question is, fine, why not get rid of them?
And Kevin, why not get rid of everybody in law enforcement? Why not get rid of everybody in the military that are bad apples, Kevin?
We tried to. We tried to in the military.
Kevin,
you know that.
Kevin, yes, and they do in the public school system. It's what you call pink slipping.
They do.
They exactly. They pink slipping, Kevin. Then they decide on whether or not they want to bring them back the following year. So they're doing things like that. But I'm gonna tell you, 50% of the problems in your school system is that the students don't show up. You can't teach who are not there. And so that's 50 to 60% of the problem right there. So you cannot force, you cannot teach a seat when there's no one in it.
But Marty, the fundamental of the question is being asked. There's no such thing as a failing school. People in the school fail. Why should the parent? Why should the parent have to move their child from one school to another?
And I will say this, I'm also taking offense to assume that every black person moved their kids across town to play sports. And that's not true, Kevin, and I'm surprised you didn't.
No,
you didn't say everybody else. But you know it happens. I know some folks who went to I know some people who've done it.
Look at the implication, yes, but I know a whole lot of people, including myself, who put my son in private school, and my daughter was fortunate enough to go to magnet school, and everything, because you want what's best for their education. Now, I've also taken offense to say, well, the kids are, it's easy in magnet school, whatever. No, my wife and I had to sit up many a nights to assist our daughter in magnet school. So the parents work. The difference between some parents and everything, who kids are in one school or another, is the parent willing to put up the work and work with their children.
Bingo.
Values, but also.
Let me say something about that. Education, it's the only profession where people get paid to do something, and then when you fail, you talk about the parent didn't help. I send my child to school to be educated by the educators.
Kevin,
that's
if either one of your sons got a bad report as far as conduct issues, as far as performance in school,
I'm on it.
Teaching parents, exactly. But
I'm not a teacher.
Not on it, Kevin. It's because of you and your wife and everything that your son is doing the best he can in school. When you have parents that don't show up, when you have parents that are smoking weed with their children, or when you have parents
I know, but when you move their school 15 miles on the other side of town and they don't have cars to get there and the bus system don't work, how can they get there?
You know what I think, Kevin? You need to get our caller over here in this chair sometime and have him on as a guest.
Exactly.
He's a liberal.
We would definitely have a conversation. And Kevin, I'm just saying this because you're talking to somebody who's been around a while, and you know me personally.
But that's ideology versus reality.
Out of my pocket.
Yeah, and the reality is that you should not have to move your child if a school system fails you. You should move the people who failed.
Yes, and the reality is you shouldn't have to buy a Chevy when you could buy a Ford, but Ford, remember, stands for Found on the Road Dead. You have a choice in the matter of what you want. You want a Ford or do you want a Chevy?
Okay, that's apples and oranges.
Well, school with parents, so you can't assume that,
Wait, okay, isn't a job of a teacher to teach? Isn't that their job?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so why is it that we blame the parents?
Kevin, it's also the job of the administrators, the ones who set the policy, the state.
Right,
yes,
the system.
The system, Kevin, but you can't blame it on the teachers.
And you can't blame it on the parents all the time either.
Kevin, you cannot send a man to war without arming him with a weapon and communication.
Okay. All right.
You see, you can't do it, Kevin.
Well, I appreciate the call.
Y'all still haven't answered my question. There's no law that says you cannot fire people. You cannot move people from a failing school to another school.
Kevin, they pink slip teachers and they.
We're not talking about pink slipping. We're not, because if you pink slip somebody and you bring somebody else in that does the same thing, what good's pink slip?
Again, the teacher is only as strong as the administrator and as the system.
Bullcrap.
Oh,
the teachers make a strong administrator.
Kevin, how can you say that you're not in the classroom?
Because I've been a student.
How to run your radio.
I've been a student in schools. I've been a student. I'm a professional student.
Kevin, how can a person tell you how to run your radio station and they're not sitting in your chair?
Because he hasn't been in the radio. But I've been a student in school.
Exactly, Kevin. You're not in education. And a lot of people...
I have been a product of the education system like everybody else in America.
And you're in your 60s.
And a lot of us are products of communication. But still, I can't tell you how to do your job.
Yeah, you can.
I can't tell you what policies and how they're governing how you perform on the radio.
Well, I can all tell you that the teachers are responsible for where we are in this situation in school by putting up with junk from administrators.
They're only as strong as their support, and you can't teach who's not there.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Okay, let me ask you. Wait a minute. If every non-commissioned officer in the whole division decided we're not going to work for that general, do you believe that they'd get rid of all the non-coms, or would they get rid of that general?
Kevin, you know that, like you said, they're governed by a certain policy. You can't go AWOL, Kevin. You'll find yourself in level work.
That's true, but I'm telling you that the lower level people have more power than they are given credit for.
Kevin, are you going to pay their bills? Are you going to pay their bills, Kevin?
They're educated. They're educated. They ought to be able to get another job. They ought to be able to get another job. I'm sorry. You ought to be able to get another job.
Snap and all this.
Hey, gotta run.
Are you going to pay?
Update on News Radio 1440.
Good morning, I'm Jasmine Williams.
Tonight at 8 p.m. on News Radio 1440. Depend on it.
Okay, before I get back to my guests, I got to tell you, this is for the guys out there. Guys, have you heard of such a thing as low T? Well, let me tell you about it. You know, when you were young, you could run everywhere. You had all that kind of energy. You had to get up at 3 o'clock every morning because you just had that. You were just energetic to go to school. I mean, you was ready to go. And now that you're, 35, 40 years old, things don't all work the way they used to. Well, wait till you get 60.
58.
But however, it could be low T. I know some of you heard testosterone. Men have a certain amount of it we're supposed to have, unless you're a guy who wants to be a girl. But I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the guys who wants to be men. Okay? Montgomery Men's Health. You need to go. You get to take for $99. You get to take a PSA test, which I think that's a prostate test that makes sure everything is working right, and you get the low T test to make sure your testosterone level is up. And if they find something wrong, they'll tell you the same day. They'll put you on a program, and you will feel better. You will have better mental clarity. You will have your what is that word when you run?
Endurance?
Endurance. Oh, yeah, endurance is good. But there's another, metabolism. Your metabolism will be better. And with that, you may I'm not guaranteed you may can lose a little weight at the same time also. But anyway, low testosterone treatment can truly change your life. Most men, I'm not saying all, but most men experience higher energy, better gains in the gym, and a couple other places too. You know what I'm saying? So if you feel run down, have low libido, not exactly sure what libido is. I think that means the urge to want to engage. I think that's what that means. Yeah. If you don't want to engage anymore.
Intimate desires.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So we can do that technically. We don't have to, get down in the dirt with it. We can say it intelligently. So if you have low desires, this test may help figure out what the problem is. Okay? So give them a call, 334-440-3663. That's 334-440-3663, and it's called Montgomery Men's Health. Okay? Call them up. It's only $99. The best $99 you can spend. John, you need me to...
Listen, I took down... No, listen, wouldn't hurt me to go at all.
Okay. Me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me either, because, I didn't know much about tea.
And I'm glad we have Men's Health now. There are tons of places for women all over.
They're like we don't even matter.
It's 10 to 1, but at least we have one
now. Like Father's Day. We're not going to hear a whole lot about Father's Day.
Not so much.
No, but Mother's Day, oh my. Yeah, but it wouldn't be no mothers if there were no fathers. We had fathers before we had mothers. I just want to get that point across. Good morning. Who's this? Hello?
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Elgin.
Yeah, turn your radio down, I think, or something. You got something up.
Maybe I'm on my headset.
Yeah.
But probably what it is when you're talking about those. Let me get off my headset.
Okay.
You got a problem with if you look. The school is not failing like you said. It's the metrics that they chose to grade those schools by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess
and so
you
if
look
you
at
look
it
at
that
those
way.
metrics and what those, just like, okay, what does a teacher have to do if a kid don't come to school?
Well, just report it.
Which we do every day. Every day attendance is taken, and we know about it.
Too many times. Yeah, that's part of the metric. How many times those kids been absent from the classroom? So if you get too many, you're gonna fail. You're gonna have a fail in school. So the metric is more than just A, B's, and C's, and D's, and math, science, and English.
How can we fail a school? And again, if you are correct, then I stand corrected. But how can you fail a school if a lot of people decide not to show up?
Because it's part of the grading method.
He's right about that because attendance plays a role in it. It's part of the formula.
See?
I mean, it is. It's part of the formula. And they take look, our funding is based on attendance.
Right.
The number of teacher units we get is based on attendance. All of those things. It's one of the reasons they push it so much.
So if somebody doesn't want to come to your class, aren't you still partly to blame?
If they don't want to come, you can't go to their house, Kevin, and go pick them up and feed them breakfast and bring them to school.
But that means you're not creating an atmosphere that is conducive. That's conducive to learning.
But that's just one of the metrics. If you look at the metrics that how those schools become to be failing schools, you're gonna find out a lot of it got nothing to do with the math, science, and English.
I think you're right about that.
Because I love going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I like my teachers, except for one who hit me in the mouth. But my mother liked her, so I just kept on going.
So if you pay attention to the that's why they don't close those schools.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If a school is designated, and maybe you can answer this, John. If a school has been designated as failing, do they give you the reason why they fail?
Oh yeah, there's a test given on it. I mean, you get a report on why it's failing in different areas.
Is that available to the public?
I think they put it on.
Yes,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, take for instance, Mr. Elkins.
Mm-hmm.
If you say you want all your kids that they got to be reading at 80% or better in the third grade.
Right. Well, they should be.
And then if you look below the third grade and see what did we prepare them to read by the time they got to the third grade, what did we prepare them to do to read at that level before they got there?
Okay. But now, again, I still got to give that to the teachers, some responsibility to the teachers for that system.
Kevin wants us to go to their houses and pick them up in the morning too.
No, but I need you to. Let me put it this way. Let's say out of 100 students you had 40 didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
But if those 60 left back showed up and did excellent, how would that hurt you?
You still gonna have a failing grade because you ain't over 70% of the kids coming to school.
Mm-hmm. That's a part of the formula. It's a percentage of it. It's not the entire thing.
It's not everything, but it's a percentage. But now you're probably familiar with this, Mr. Elkin. Okay. Did you hear Nick Saban complaining up there in Alabama about
name and likeness?
Okay.
Yeah.
The metric done changed now. So that means he said Texas got too many billionaires out there, which means gonna pay them out and they ain't gonna come to Alabama.
Yeah. I think he was right, but hey, that's the way it goes. My main man from Texas, Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, he got all messed up and mad about that. Good morning. Who's this? Thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
I have a question about your failing school, about your son. Has Z failed all his subjects this year?
Of course not.
Has he had any conduct problem?
Of course not.
But then your school ain't failing.
Well,
that's a good point.
No. But the question I'm asking.
Your teacher is not failing.
No. Here's the question I'm asking.
He just told me Z is passing everything and he doesn't have a conduct problem.
No.
He's the only answer for Z.
Yeah, that's all I'm answering for. But again, the question is, if a school is designated as failing, why do they give me the opportunity to move him rather than to move the people, quote unquote, that have failed?
Because Z is one person, and it's easy to move one person than moving all those people.
You can move all this. Then all you really need to do is get rid of the leadership. You don't need to get rid of all the teachers. You need to get rid of leadership.
But I want to get back to your point.
Yeah.
Your child's school is not failing because Z is passing. He's going to the next grade.
Okay, but we're not talking about Z. We're talking about in general.
But you said the school is failing.
No, I did not. No. Listen to what I said.
The classroom is not failing.
Now, listen to what I said. I said if a school is designated as a failing school, why is it that we got to take our kids and put them in another school? Why not take the people who fail? Okay, why not put the people who fail and put them someplace else? I don't know if Lee is considered failing or not. I just know the process is wrong.
Guarantee Lee's not top 10%.
Okay.
Right?
I don't know.
But why didn't you go and apply? They opened up the magnet program. Why didn't you go and apply for Z?
Again, I don't know much about the magnet thing, and I think the same quality. Wait a minute. I think the same quality of education should be given in every school.
I said the same thing. I said also that they should take the teachers from LAMP, BTW, all those magnet schools, and put them in the traditional schools and train the teachers.
And we'd have the same results. Because everybody in the magnet, first of all, when you tell me the magnet criteria is a 2.5 GPA, that ain't much magnet to me.
Well,
that's average.
If they get the teachers to train the teachers from the magnet program, train the traditional teachers, then you wouldn't have a problem. The magnet children are doing exceptionally well.
Okay. But again, at 2.5 GPA, that's a C.
Well, they just lowered that in the past 2 years, Kevin. They ain't been there.
So, again, we went from a high grade to a high expectation down to an average expectation.
In the last couple of years.
And I guarantee,
was way up there.
Will you agree that there are probably kids in Lee School who could probably outdo some of the folks in the magnet?
Sure there are.
I know they are.
So again,
out that they're not there.
No. That's my issue is that if you designate a school as a failing school, why do the kids have to leave? Why not leave the leadership that's leading the school? Make them leave. That's my issue.
Why don't the parents get together and go up there and voice your opinion?
Well, I'm voicing my opinion every morning.
Well, no, you need to go to the schools where it's going to count.
Then they throw me off.
Radio,
then they throw me out of the school.
Only thing you're doing on the radio is ticking them off and nothing else is getting done. And the children are suffering.
And wait a minute. If they're allowing me to make the kids suffer, then they certainly don't need to be there.
You just ticking people off.
I don't care.
About the school instead of going to the.
I haven't picked on any particular school. Mine is a theory, or at least a situation where if a school is designated as failing, why do I have to take the added additional cost and go to another school rather than get rid of leadership? That is the question this morning.
The question is, if it was my child, I'll take the added cost.
Amen. There you go. This is a lady that takes responsibility.
They have to go to the movie.
And so you're letting the system off once again.
My child, listen, my child was an M&M. He was bused for
what's an M&M?
He went to a majority white school back then. He was bused from one side of town to the other side of town to the white school.
So we couldn't get a good education in a black school?
No, I just wanted him with a better situation.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
Okay, but that was another public school, right?
Yes, it was a public school.
Didn't cost you any extra money, except
on
driving
the
over
other side of town, they had a little more money.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but you said you didn't even want to drive over there. It wasn't worth it to you. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah, you absolutely said that.
Don't say I didn't say.
Run the recorder.
Yeah, don't say I didn't say it wasn't worth it. I'm just saying that. Who's next? Okay, this guy right.
Can I before we get to the next call, I want to bring this point up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you brought in leadership, and you say leadership is the key, and I certainly agree with that. You've seen the movie Lean on Me.
I've seen it, and my man was a leader.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's an outstanding actor, and everybody watches that. Would Montgomery County, if they knew the end result would be outstanding, would they put up with a man like him?
Yes.
No, they would not. There's no way. They wouldn't last a week. Morgan Freeman, they would arrest Morgan Freeman.
Wait a minute. White people may not do it, but black folks would.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay.
Guarantee. Wait a minute. We're already letting them do our kids any kind of way to play football.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I think then give me the same dedication that you do to sports to academics. I'm good.
I think Morgan Freeman would be run out of town on his ear. If he were to go in there and handle it like that.
I'm good. I love the guy. I'd take lunch every day.
Yeah, and he could do it, but they don't trust the people, and he wouldn't work within the system, and he's not a bureaucrat, and he wouldn't be able to handle it here.
Good morning. Who's this?
Help Dog.
Yes. Another teacher.
All right. Now, first of all, no, they wouldn't tolerate a Morgan Freeman. Okay, that wouldn't happen.
No.
But the second thing is, do you realize that what you said about taking all the teachers and restocking them and all? Ask your teacher there. Didn't they do that to Lee High School a few years ago? Didn't the school system the Montgomery Public Schools take over that school and made even the teachers that taught there reapply for their jobs? Didn't they do that?
That may have happened. I don't know. I didn't keep up with it. I was worried about my own little red wagon in my place, but I'm sure it did.
Let me ask the teacher there too.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a son and you decided to send him to school in Montgomery, would you choose a quote-unquote failing school that Kevin doesn't understand what a failing school is, but would you choose one of the failing schools, as a matter of fact, one of the worst schools in the state to send him to?
Oh, heck no.
Well, let me ask you this, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew your son wanted to be an engineer, would you at least pick up the phone and ask them how many of their students had got accepted into engineering schools?
Well, I would check into that. That's reasonable to do. I would already know ahead of time that they would be poorly equipped coming from Lee, Lanier, JD, any of those. I would never send my son to that school.
Well,
any of them.
You know, Kevin is the one that he's here throwing stones at teachers and everybody else, but he doesn't want to take any responsibility.
I'm going to ask both of you guys a question here, and I realize that you were born on the other side of the track, and things are all good for you. That silver.
I was born on the same side of the track as you. I lived in the hood for over 20 years.
That silver spoon, when you guys were born,
yeah,
it kind of makes our perspective a little different from one another. But let me ask you a question. If everybody that goes to school is to be treated equally and should have same equal access to great education, and a few of us can pick our kids out of there and take them someplace else, what happens to everybody else?
Well, again, your philosophy that I'm going to take Z and we're going to make Lee a better high school.
That's what we're going to do.
And damn, within weeks, you were bitching and crying like a little girl.
Because I don't
take him out of here at the end of the year.
Listen, I was shocked. I was in shock.
Like a little girl.
I was in shock.
A little girl.
I was in shock because I didn't realize that schools really had that kind of environment.
After we told you.
But you have a tainted version because you went to Millbrook.
A tainted version?
Yes.
Give me a break. I taught in Montgomery Public Schools for years, Kevin.
And you ran away.
I did what you said to do. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I wasn't going to be a part of a bad system.
But rather than change it,
hold on.
You ran.
I did run away. I ran as far as I could get.
I would too.
Okay.
I wouldn't teach down here.
Now, there's a word we use for that called cowardness.
Well, hey, but what did you say?
What did you say?
It's the teacher's fault.
It is.
Crying like a little girl.
Because
it's the teacher's fault.
Because
they don't stand up to their superiors.
Listen, you didn't. You ran.
Kevin, you better be recording this. This is great radio.
Right.
You guys ran.
That's right.
I gotta go.
Great radio.
It is great radio.
I gotta go on a break here, but you guys ran. We call that being a coward. What can I tell you? But I ain't mad at you. Don't get me wrong. You do the best. You do what you can do. You know.
I got enough sense not to go here to start with.
Joe Biden on News Radio 1440.
Okay, we're back. Good morning, everybody. 860-1440 number here. If you want to give us a call, love to talk to you, whatever on your mind. Our guest is one. I don't know if we want me to tell his name or not. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is Caleb's dad. See, remember
I'm known as that.
Well, yeah.
Come on, yeah. I'm John.
Yeah, John. John's here with
John
us.
Colquitt. I'm a retired educator from Autauga County. Taught agri-science for a long time, and I'm still in education. I still work for Alabama FFA, and I cover about 13 counties, and I go visit programs, and I've got a challenge for you before we get to the caller, if we may.
Hold on, caller, hold on.
Yeah, just a second. I got a challenge for you. What I would like for you to do, Kevin, so you will understand this better, I want you to dedicate 1 week to spending it at Lee High School. Just a whole...
They won't let me stay in
Now,
the
why
whole
not? I would want a talk show host in my school.
But they wouldn't...
But you won't understand it until you've spent some time in there. Go spend some time in your child's classroom.
They don't want me there.
Spend some time there. That's the only way. The experts on education as to whether or not a class is good, a school is good, but in particular teacher is good or not, the only true experts are the students that are sitting there.
Well, that's true.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Hey, I got a good one. I'm with you on Joe Clark and Coach Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them is where you have to bring the attention to everyone. Martin Luther King said one of the greatest things, you can lock a person up for righteousness and unrighteousness. If you lock him up because he did the right thing, you saw Joe Clark land up in that jail smiling, because he got these teachers and children's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And once he got their attention, they wanted to follow. We've created a monster. Coming up, I noticed there was I think some Catholic schools, but everybody else was in public school.
Mm-hmm.
Integration came, and now it takes a scientist to figure out how to figure this mess out. That's the problem. Once integration came, then all these scholars came in and showed people how you manipulate. Now it irks me. I was talking to some veterans the other day, and I said, something in the school system blew my mind one day. A teacher at Carver. Have you ever heard a teacher? I'm sorry. Have you ever heard a teacher from Lamp High School say, if you don't do right, if you don't follow the rules, I'm going to send you back to the public school?
I know.
But there are the public schools. But here's the funny thing. I never heard anyone from Carver say that if you keep screwing up, I'm going to send you to Lamp. But we're in the same school system. You see, we've created a monster. When I go to Butler County, it was a private school down there. Guess what it is right now? A stockyard. Because at the integration, they ran, but they realized there wasn't no money. Somewhere they done eased back into a system somewhere where the kids are still in private school. But that's another story. But you see how complicated things are? We should not be going through this conversation. Kids should be in public school or private school if they're rich or famous, or in Catholic school if that's the route they take. But all this other craziness, Joe Clark and Coach Carter laid the foundation. Got all the rats out of there, brought the attention of the faculty and everyone else legally. And then he ended up, yes, getting locked up, but it's okay to get locked up doing
You got to be willing to sacrifice something in order.
Now, let me interject on this too.
Yeah.
If you're going to improve a system, like you just pointed out, you got to get rid of some people.
That's right.
And he absolutely got rid of people, and it worked.
Yes, sir.
It'll work here too.
I mean,
sure it would.
And I like what they said on both instances. You brought me in here to fix it.
Yeah.
And now you're questioning that because everybody's so caught up with the policy.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to take a risk in everything that you do. And if you're a supervisor and things of that sort and scared to take a risk because somebody
you don't deserve
might
to be
say
there.
something,
Right. That's called leadership.
Then the children fail. Yeah,
Yep.
and then the children is the one that fails.
Yep.
And that's where I'm at today. Kevin, you know I enjoy your show.
Appreciate
Good
it.
call.
Appreciate it. And absolutely. See what's
Let me bring this up too. I got a question for you
Yeah.
that was sent to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I better get this in. If every neighbor around you had drug lords and crime, would you stay?
Well, you know, that's an interesting question, but I got to tell you, it depends on the relationship I had with them.
Ah.
Depends on the relationship I had with them.
So if your child's in a failing school, you just keep them there.
It depends on the again, if everybody leaves that cares about the school, if everybody leaves that cares about the administration of the school, then all we're going to do is take all...
Yeah, but you have to have, as a parent, you have to have more concern for the individual person than your own child, which has a profound impact from that point forward. You got to be more concerned about your child than the whole.
Right, but doesn't my child... Wait a minute. There's a book. You remember the... is it A Tale of Two Cities? I know you probably read this because what's the name of the book? It says that I am part of the whole. And anything that happens to anybody else diminishes me. What book is that? As For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are part of the whole.
Sure you are.
And if anything happens to any part of the whole, it affects all of it.
I would not sacrifice my child's education just to prove a point.
Well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Okay, so whose child is irrelevant?
Nobody's child's irrelevant.
Okay, and that's what I think too.
Yeah.
So I'm not willing to just forget about them because my son's going to have to work with these people, hire some of these people at some point in time, or some of those people have never had anybody that concerned with them about their success or failure until they'll grow up. Next thing you know, they'll be in prison calling me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's our problem. We're kind of stingy. We're kind of selfish as people.
I think with our own children, we have to be selfish, and we should be.
All right.
We do.
We got our own different philosophies about those things.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Yes.
Let me put about three things, and then I'd like to get a comment on one of them. First of all, let me start with President Biden is in Korea, and he went by a Samsung plant where they're building the chips, which will lessen our dependency on China, and they're building one in Texas. And you're all talking about education. There was a lady, I think her name was Rue, and she became superintendent of D.C. schools. And if you've ever seen the documentary on her or something, Charlotte Meadows hooked up with her, and we ended up with the first charter school, I think, here in Montgomery. And then, you know, the people behind the scenes have already realigned her district to get rid of her. It's something. One of the things that I noticed about the conversation this morning, we talk a lot about, you know, leadership, but it always goes back to government and the military. Everybody just called this morning. You know, nobody thinks about what made America, and that is free enterprise and competition. And that's what's wrong with education. Now, I'm going to give you an idea, okay? And Tommy Bice is one of the worst. He's gone. But why don't we put the best teachers on the floor and pay them for results. And all of these teachers that really want to teach will team up and run the ones off that created this collective environment that we have. And collectivism will destroy capitalism. And we are capitalists, at least I think we are. And let them compete for that money. You don't put Michael Jordan in the front office. You put him on the floor and let him play. We do that in everything except for education. The teachers should be the highest paid people in education. And all you got to do, like we test them in the third grade and we build prisons from that. I mean, listen to what we're talking about. Are you all listening to me? Why don't we just pay the teachers on performance? Get rid of all the layers of bureaucracy that's manipulating all this money and look for results.
I'm all for that because I thought my performance was pretty good.
Yeah, well, there it is. And you got a lot of other teachers out there.
We were in competitive events,
line,
and
they can't
we did
speak
well.
Out. They don't call in. They just there, and there's nothing they can do. Well, you know, I see.
But there is something they can do if they were
day.
willing to do. They got to be willing to sacrifice something. And teachers are just not willing to sacrifice, but we ask everybody else to.
You're telling me that teachers don't sacrifice?
Collective environment win.
Look at the environment of our schools. No, not really.
No, this whole community. Everybody's government. I had an IRS agent say, you could never work for the government because your mouth is too big.
Believe that.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoying the show.
Enjoy. Thank you for calling.
Got to take my last break. We'll be back with the epilogue. Now, for you folks got a little age on you, if you ever watched FBI, you know, the epilogue means the last segment. Okay. So we'll be back after this.
This time the girl is going to stay. This time the girl is going to stay for more than just a day.
Your WSFA First Alert Weather Forecast on News Radio 1440. 1440.
Everybody needs a little time.
Okay, I'm going to try to get all the calls in now because I know my son would say, I have been talking too much. So, of course, that's why we call it a talk show, but, you know. Let's go to phones. Good morning. You're on air. Good morning.
Good morning. We need more Sunday school.
Okay.
We do.
Says who?
Says me.
Sunday school's not in the Bible. Good morning.
It's not in the Bible. We need to teach the Bible. Good grief.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I want to say this to you, Kevin. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I don't tell people what to do. I only voice my opinion. Okay, you've been doing all this for a whole year, and your poor son been in that school, and you don't know what kind of danger you're putting him in.
Yes, I do. We talk all the time. Yes, I do. We talk all the time. And as a matter of fact, most people don't even know. Most people don't even know he's my son.
You don't know what people know because sometimes they're not going to tell you, and sometimes your son going to keep things.
You haven't seen my son, have you?
Just think about it. Just think about it.
And I have thought about it, but you haven't seen my son, have you? Trust me, ain't nobody going to mess with him.
If my suggestion is put your school in a better school, you register and sign up to be a substitute teacher. Go in there, work in these schools.
Excellent suggestion.
And thought about doing a substitute. I still come in the same stupid rules that everybody else will come under in there, and they been putting me out the first day.
Well, I did in the past.
Yeah.
And after the class was over, people were finna go home. Yeah. Children came back to me and said, Miss Lewis, thank you.
Yeah. I understand.
We hadn't opened that book for since I've been here. Ms. Lewis, thank you for what you taught us today. Right. Go in there.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I have and I appreciate, I don't know if I have the patience to put up with some of the things that I hear in school, the language, the disrespect. I don't have it because I ain't going to.
You expect your son's teachers to put up with it?
No, I do not. And that's my problem. They put up with it rather than getting rid of that little tyrant out of the classroom. That's my problem. I don't think it should be.
Now you're pointing out the students are actually the problem.
Because they're allowed to get away with it by the leadership.
Yeah, I don't put up with that either.
Yeah, students only do what you let them do.
Quick, before you go to that, I wouldn't let a kid cuss me. Wouldn't happen.
You couldn't stop them from cussing you.
But they would never come back in my room again.
Exactly.
Never, ever, never.
Exactly.
I'd sit them in a chair out in the hall. They're not coming back in my school if they cuss me.
And I don't blame you. It won't happen. And I don't blame you. Good morning, and that's my problem. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Caleb's dad, for coming. Will you come again?
I will.
I've enjoyed the conversation.
I'm glad you have.
Yeah, but you know, I got to get some more calls in because you called one show.
Okay. But your poor son went to that school for 1 year, right?
Yeah, and he man.
And then you better make sure those grades are reflective of what he really knows.
Well, and therein lies, right? And I agree with you. Good morning.
Cool.
So are you. That's Ed. That's the guy who likes to keep calling back all the time. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. This is Phyllis Harvey Hall.
Yeah. Who ain't been ever yet running for Congress? Okay. Keep going.
I would like to know which profession do you ask for sacrifice of other than teachers?
Soldiers.
Soldiers. Okay, soldiers are there, so you believe soldiers and teachers should be the only people sacrificing.
I think
although both provide some of the most humble public service. Soldiers should be paid more than teachers. But this is my point for you other than that. What's missing from education, you're partly there, but you're not fully there, is public and particularly parental engagement.
Even if the parental engagement, but let me say, even if the parental engagement is not there, the relationship between student and teacher, local parentes, means that they take the place of the parents. Just because the parents are low down against...
Now, I've heard you explain
the rules of school should be the same.
Teacher, the rules should be the same, and we do need a board, but you also, there's always that piece. You must have teachers who are doing their job. You must hold students accountable and their parents.
Amen.
Now, outside of what you must
You can't really do much about their parents, though.
And look, but look at the schools that perform best and tell me you don't have parental engagement. So there's something that is missing. We can keep putting it at the teachers. And you're right. Teachers make great, if you need to go to a school, and I always say it, stay in a school more than one day.
That's my challenge to him. He needs about a week.
Volunteer. Yes, everyone needs a week, including the people who sit at the board. They need to go
I
in
may
there
think about that.
That's true, too.
I may do that, because I don't really have a whole lot to do. I can spend a couple of hours over there. I ain't going to spend 8 hours over there, for sure.
You got a week.
Yeah. A couple hours a day a week. I can do that.
5 weeks.
I can't do that.
No,
I can't do that. No.
I'll put you in a spot, I promise.
I'll be in jail. I got to go.
Update on News Radio 1440.
Good morning. I'm Jasmine Williams with WSFA 12 News. Here's what's happening this Friday.